Can you hear me?
This mic is really hot. I've never heard my voice this loud before. The call to order the Appointment and Alignment Committee meeting for today, and we need a roll call, or do we just go to
Public comment.
public comment? Would anyone from the public care to make a comment? Seeing none. Hello out there. Nope, shaking her head. All right, seeing none. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Nobody opposed. All right. Actually, I guess we do have to do this because, Jordan, where are you?
I'm on Zoom. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now. All right. So Jordan Jortsma is joining us from Zoom. Jordan, I think there's something with the OMA that says, hey, you got to let us know that you're not in Bermuda. So are you in Holland? Are you in Lansing? Are you?
I am in Lansing.
All right. Hey, cool. Thanks. Glad you could join us.
I'd much rather be there.
Oh, that's great. All right. Could I get a motion to approve the minutes from the February 11, 2025 meeting?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Same sign. All right, motion carries. Agenda and action request. Item 1, Community Corrections Advisory Board. I've got a suggested motion that I'll read. Suggested motion is to place into nomination and forward to the Board of Commissioners the names of Larry Jackson and Edward Taylor, and to select one to fill one Workforce Investment Board member vacancy beginning immediately and ending December 31, 2026, so that we can discuss this. Would anyone care to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? And seconded by Doug. All right, any discussion?
Could we have possibly Ron talk a little bit about the workforce investment seat before we talk about the people?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Ron.
Yes, I actually have some familiarity with this particular committee. I served on it for like 20 years. I think I was one of the originating board members. However, we never had an issue about filling this seat while I was on it. And I believe the current chairperson is Alma Valenzuela, who I've known for a long time. The best I can tell, an issue came up in, I believe, 2023 as to whether or not the statute that requires that one position be affiliated with the applicable Workforce Investment Board. The issue was, what does that mean? And were the candidates that were being put forward at the time qualified? I've looked at the statute. I've looked at the new modified bylaws, which no longer use that language, which is interesting. And this morning I had the benefit of looking at an August 15th Talent and Recruitment Committee meeting, just a snippet of that dealt with this particular issue. And then I also was able to watch a section of the September 12th, 2023 board meeting where Jack Jordan, as Corporation Counsel, offered an oral opinion on the question of what this section means and how does it apply to the candidates that were being put forward. Bottom line from the Talent and Recruitment Committee is that both candidates qualified, and they made a recommendation that one of the candidates be approved by the full board. Listening to Jack Jordan's legal opinion, it focused on what the word affiliated meant. And I think he used a common definition and essentially said that both candidates were in some sense affiliated with at least the concept of a workforce investment board. And therefore, he did suggest that both should in fact be approved as qualified. And then the board moved on to appoint a candidate based on that recommendation. My understanding is that I think both our candidates today are qualified. and it's a call for this particular board. I don't believe Jack Jordan or Lene Manora issued a written opinion on that issue. And it, again, it hinges on the word affiliated and what that means. I'm not sitting here as corporation counsel, so I'm not going to take a crack at it myself. So I think the way things stand is you have an opinion from corporation counsel that allows you to move forward and select from the candidates that are before you.
You go ahead.
I just
We're-
have
we're open discussion.
I really appreciate your homework on that, Ron. I guess I'm wondering, do you remember from watching Jack's legal opinion that was given orally, if he stated how the candidates met the requirement of being affiliated?
I do not. I know he made several references to the fact that they were carefully screened and were found to be qualified.
Okay.
But the specific qualifications, I did not hear him mention. I happen to know that one of them was, in fact, an employee, I believe, of Michigan Works. The other one was, I believe, in the private sector.
Yeah. From my memory, I believe that the candidates were reached out to, and I believe there were phone calls. But again, I couldn't find anything just like you that was written. So all I have to give you is my memory
Right.
on that part of it.
Got it. Oh, thank you for that. That's good to look into. And it sounded like in conversations I had, I can't remember with who, that Alma had gone through these and felt that these qualified, and staff had basically felt, but we were okay with the two applicants right now. Is that
That's my
accurate
understanding
statement?
as well, yes.
All right.
So
Well,
I appreciate, Ron having spent some time with this. 2 years ago, when we did have fairly extensive discussions, I disagreed with the corporate counsel's interpretation of the word affiliated. I'm not a lawyer, but when I see the word affiliated, that means you work for the Workforce Investment Board in some way. So, I appreciated the interviews with both these gentlemen. I don't feel comfortable voting for either because I don't think that they fit state statute, which is, again, affiliated means affiliated for me. It means you work for it, or you have a very, very tight relationship,
I would,
which neither of these two gentlemen have. And I didn't feel Brooke Carl had that last time. So I'm kind of stuck because I don't feel either of these two gentlemen are qualified. They're both great candidates, but not for this slot as state statute outlines.
I would feel more comfortable to have an official legal opinion before I would feel comfortable voting going forward. I'm in agreement with Commissioner Zylster, just a slightly different take of, I would rather have it do a little bit more due diligence and have a corporation counsel legal opinion written.
Sure. Maybe we could, for me, 2 years ago, we had two candidates, Brooke Carl and Angie Barksdale. Angie Barksdale's corporate counsel back then specifically said she's definitely affiliated with Workforce Investment Board. I'd be in favor of reaching out to her and asking her if she's willing to serve, because that would short circuit a lot of legal discussion, because I think we are all on the same page that Angie Barksdale definitely fits this.
One thing just to add on that is that adding Michigan Works, I believe, was an addition that our county added to the bylaws. State statute doesn't say Michigan Works, I don't believe specifically by name.
No, not by name, but there is only one Workforce Investment Board for Ottawa County, and that is West Michigan.
And I think
Works.
that's where the due diligence took place when we had more than one candidate. And that's when legal counsel reached out to find out if the other applicant was, so you and I disagreed, like I believed that Brooke was qualified based on doing a little bit more homework on her affiliation and what her work did in connection with Michigan Works. She didn't work for Michigan Works, but she was an affiliation with Michigan Works and was doing the work of getting people reemployed after being incarcerated.
Yeah, qualified is, like, when we say qualified is technically qualified, she's definitely a qualified person, but is she qualified, based on state statute? I didn't think so. I voted for Angie Barksdale because she definitely fit, right? And maybe we use the word fit instead of qualified because she fits what state statute says, right?
Kind of funny being in between the two. You guys are leaning into, it's like a tennis match, kind of having fun. No, you're good.
No, I
You're
just
good.
want to make sure we're,
Well, Phil, do you have
discussing
any? No, this is good, Doug. I appreciate it.
I
And
do. I
Allison, too.
appreciate both their opinions, but I think it's your opinions, and I think, in my opinion, we should move this onto the full board and have their opinion on it, because right now we just have two opinion on this board. And I don't think it's fair to the full board or these people not to move it onto the full board instead of keeping it right here.
Got it. Well, and I'll throw my 2 cents out there. I like both of these candidates. Absolutely. Feel that they're qualified, but I am a little bit hesitant with the two on the end here that, the two being Allison and Doug, that do they meet the actual statutory requirement? And I'm also, even if I were with you, Doug, Phil, I'm recognizing with 2 against, and even if it were 2-4, we're going to stall this out anyway, because Jordan's not here and not able to vote. So at that point, I'm wondering if we just postpone the decision on these 2 until we have further information. Anybody opposed to that?
I'm not opposed to it. Like I said, I think, if we reach out to Angie, she's just wanted to serve, we could interview her, once again.
Or Angie or anyone else?
Yeah.
Or anyone else. We
Anyone
can
else.
reopen
We
it
just have
if you want to reopen it.
Yep.
Like I said, I think that West Michigan Works fits what state statute said. I said that 2 years ago, and I still believe that. I believe that they're really the only body that can offer us a candidate. And if Angie's willing to serve or somebody else at West Michigan Works is willing to serve, I think there's very valid reasons for Workforce Investment Board to be a member. Go ahead, sorry. You had a
Well, I
question?
was just going to say, and I don't know Angie personally, she's probably a wonderful person. I'm wondering if, because we have 2 candidates who applied in the time window that we presented, ought we at least first to give them the full shake of
Mhm.
getting legal to decide if they're qualified,
I would
and
agree with
if
that.
they're not.
Yeah, I mean, we
then
can take,
open
we
it
can take
back
that
up.
step for sure. I mean, we did have legal look at that, and like I said, I did disagree with legal's interpretation of the word affiliated last time, and in any legal interpretation that says affiliated means that, you're in the business community, for me, again, we'll kind of fall in the same.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
got it.
Straight up, interpretation of the word affiliated. But, whichever, I mean, we can reopen it and ask Workforce Investment Board, Michigan Works, to offer us a candidate, or, take what I think is a longer route and get a legal interpretation of the word affiliated, and so.
So can I make a motion?
Yeah,
Maybe?
yes, absolutely.
If we're ready for that, I would move to table this action request until our next month, next appointment and alignment committee.
Was there a second?
Second, but I mean,
guys
table
got
to do what, though?
My hope would be then for a legal opinion to be written from legal counsel.
I mean, I'm not supportive of that. I'm supportive of just, going to West Michigan Works and ask if they have a candidate who's willing to be interviewed, and we short circuit a lot of expense for the county and a lot of time on this issue, but
I guess I don't understand why we wouldn't want to understand the state statute for going forward in the future.
Yeah, we should get that done so we don't run into this again. I think you're right there, Allison.
Well, would you like to second the motion, or shall I?
will.
Okay. Got 2. I think I know where everybody lands, but we can say, is there further discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
All right, motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, are you directing then that legal counsel, corporation counsel, take a look at this issue?
Correct.
Okay.
You got it. Yep.
I'll work towards that.
And I think if we could get a written opinion of what it means to be affiliated, that would be dynamite.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, number 2, Community Health Board. Suggested motion to place in a nomination and forward to the Board of Commissioners the names of, do I need to read all these names out loud?
Yep.
All right, let's go. Apologies and preemptive apologies when I butcher a last name here. Ryan Adama, Elizabeth Blanchette, Deborah Dieter, Laura Doty, Paul Duff, Ruby Garcia, Terry Goldberg, Larry Jackson, Chris Kleingens, Alicia Manis, Susan Morris, Lori Patch, Nathan Slower, Mark Stevenson, Levon Vanderswag. And to select two to fill two general public vacancies beginning April 1, 2025 and ending March 31, 2028. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
And supported. All right, we can discuss. Hey, I think I did all right on those names. Yeah. If anybody was looking for their
Far as we know.
so far as we know, I'm sure they'll call in and let me know. All right, listen, I'm new to this process. The three of you have been on this board before.
Well,
And
this is the first time we've done this in open session,
Oh,
so
okay.
we're all new.
So we're all new to
No
it.
worries. Jim.
All right. And I think, right out of the gate, just as the chair, I want to say thank you so much for all those who applied. Wow, a lot of very qualified candidates. So thank you very much for your interest in serving. Perfect. I just want to say that. Is there anyone, or two or three that anyone cares to discuss specifically?
Well, I just wanted to discuss, kind of broad ideas, CMH, my recollection has had 24 members over the last 3 years. Maybe I don't have the exact number right, but has been a lot of turnover, a lot of great members right now, but a lot of new members. So I do think, we need to be looking at experience as one of the foundations of our choice. Like you said, we are all great candidates, enjoyed interviewing all of them. Chris Kleingens is a current member, has 2.5 years experience. For me, Levon Vanderswag has had 10 years experience. She's not a current member, but has had 10 years and has had experience as president. Like I said, all great candidates, but I like those two candidates as our recommended choices.
Sounds good. I guess I'll just go to my left. Phil, have you got any
Sure.
comments?
Paul Duff has a ton of knowledge about what we're looking for. I think he has the insight in Lansing and the state and even federal probably. I think he'd be a great asset for CMH as far as helping find monies that we might not even know about that he could help us there. I like Levon and her experience and her answers she gave us. So my two were Paul and Levon. So
That's good. Allison, how about you? Might as well keep.
Well, both commissioners already hit on one of mine each, so that was kind of a neat thread. I will start with Paul. Paul Duff, I had also as one of my two picks. I agree with Phil in the things that he stated. And I would also just, I really appreciated his familiarity with the CMH system, as well as millage work and initiatives for the mild to moderate population. He has 30-plus years of experience within the Michigan public behavioral health sector. And I believe with his knowledge and skill set he's gained, I think he's going to be able to get right to work immediately versus taking time to have to learn the system, which is very complex. So I really appreciated that about Paul. And then I also had Vani down is also in my top two. I have appreciated her background working with students and families over the years that have received CMH services as a special education early childhood teacher. And additionally, Vani has had past experience when Medicaid was unexpectedly and drastically cut. She appreciates the team approach in order to move forward together. And I also appreciated that she's willing to work with other outside our county and just reach out to learning best practices. And I think she would be a welcome addition back on that board.
Got it. And actually, Jordan, I apologize. You can share your opinion. You just can't vote. And I totally skipped over you in the last discussion.
No, that's
would you?
okay.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the few applicants and the process as well?
Yeah. Well, I'll touch briefly. I know that this is not on the table right now, but to the previous issue, I think finding a legal opinion is right. So I just wanted to echo the decision that you guys made there in person. I think that's the right call. So I'm glad we tabled that. As far as the CMH board, I actually, I agree as well. I think Paul would be an excellent addition. Knowing just, a hair and serving on the CMH board right now, it is incredibly complicated. There's a lot of moving parts, and so having someone that is able to plug in right away is going to be a huge asset, and someone who's worked in the system in another area is going to be very beneficial to us. The other one I would say, it's tough between Vonnie and Chris because they both have experience. I think Chris currently serving, having relationships with the other folks on the board, I would lean Chris Kleinjans there. I also think he's taking a pretty active hand in addressing what the real issue that's facing the CMH board is, and that's the monetary side of things, the budget. And so I think having him being able to continue that work is going to be helpful. Though there, are a lot of good applicants here. I think we really couldn't go wrong. I think Chris might have the biggest value add for the board there. So those would be my two, but Vonnie, of course, would be a fantastic choice as well, as would many of the others.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jordan. Yeah, for me, I'm going to echo, as this has been said, that the top three on mine were the exact top three that you guys picked. For the reasons mentioned, Levon is probably one of my top two if I were to do that, and Chris Kleinjans would be my other top two, which makes this a little bit interesting with Jordan not here as far as how the votes are going to play out. So I'd entertain a way to go about this. One option would be to vote to recommend that the full board consider all three, and then we pick two from that three. Or we could try and go through a formal vote process right now by each individual and see where we land. Two ideas.
I think the first one is fine. I mean, we're not necessarily charged with getting the final two picks.
Yep.
We're in charge with getting recommendations. So if we recommend these three candidates, then the full board has the opportunity to make
Yeah.
the final.
I
So that's
concur with that.
You
No,
do?
none,
I
well
like
done.
that.
Okay, okay. Well, would anyone care to make a motion to recommend that the board consider the top three candidates?
I'll make that motion.
Paul Duff, Chris Kleinjans, and Levon Vanderswag. Is that right?
Yep.
Anyone care to second it?
I'll support that.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Go team. That was great. All right. Item 3, Environmental Health Appeals Board. Suggested motion is to place into nomination and forward to the Board of Commissioners the names of Jamie Fleming, Heather Gahir, Larry Jackson, Scott Muellery, no, I didn't get Scott's name right, Rebecca Patrick, or Nathan Slower, and to select one to fill one general public vacancy beginning immediately and ending December 31, 2026. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Support. Motion and supported. All right. Discussion. Let's say I started on the left, so we'll start on the right. Allison, go
Right.
for it.
If you don't mind, I'm going to talk about both of them together because it's the same candidates
It
listed
is.
for 3 and 4. It's just that one of them is serving longer. So I'm actually going to talk about the one I selected as my top one for the longer seat, which is second in order of this. But so I put down Jamie Fleming was my top pick. I appreciated her background, being a superintendent for a drinking water plant, and her background in chemistry, 21 years from the environmental background. I felt like from her interview, she understood regulations and the tech side of things. She mentioned making data-driven decisions in her line of work. She also shared that if she was selected to work on this board, she would first listen to goals and needs of those involved, would talk through a goal together and see what path can be moved forward together if possible. And there was other things that I think we were all privy to based on her resume and cover letter. And then my second choice was Scott Mueller-Lyle. Scott has a BA of Science from Western. I appreciated what he shared in his application, in his line of work, what he does. And I felt like there was probably some crossover, being able to collaborate and to be able to focus on long-term, to basically work through a problem together. Scott, in his interview, shared about how he's objective. He looks at facts and goes from there. He gets to know a lot of people through his 12 years of work of being a manager. I appreciated his conflict management style, being objective, being fair, making the best decision with the information presented. And I also felt like Scott brought with him a little bit of a more familiar sense in the layman's role of someone working just with everyday people. And I felt like that was a benefit from selecting him. So
Okay. Thank you, Allison. Might as well mix it up and hop out to Jordan. Jordan will give you the second go at this one.
Yeah, I would probably have to agree with, well, I think my first choice would be Heather Gahir. I think she had an interesting perspective on some of those issues that we had discussed. And then Nathan Slower, actually, I think he, though we didn't really get to chat at length about the Environmental Appeals Board, um, I have also spoken with people that can vouch for him, and I know some of the work that he was doing over at Kuiper College, and so I think he'd be a good asset. But yeah, those are my picks.
And Nathan was the gentleman who we had the multiple conversations with and he
Yeah.
phone dropped. Okay, just.
Yeah, that's the one.
All right. Hey, Phil, let's go over to you here while you're shuffling papers. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Well, my number one pick was Rebecca Patrick, knowing all the work she did with DNR and knowing how she worked with different parts of environment and health and so that was my number one pick. I thought she'd be good at doing some of the appeals that would come in place. And then my second one was also Nathan. So just the way he addressed himself and how he could add to the committee. So them were my two, number one and number two. So I would probably do Nathan and the number in the first year and then Rebecca for the 2 years.
Got it. All right. Hey,
Yeah,
Doug?
so kind of in the same spirit as the previous one. I mean, Rebecca Patrick and Jamie Fleming were, my two picks. I think Nathan Slaughter was also did a really great interview. And maybe it comes down to we recommend three names, but if it had to be two, it'd be Jamie and Rebecca.
Got it. And tough decisions. Absolutely. Everybody was great, very qualified. Everybody was likable as well, which isn't necessarily a
Yeah.
qualification, but it's soft skills, let's call it. My top two that rose to the top were Jamie Fleming as well, and Rebecca Patrick. Rebecca, from her experience with the DNR and environmental quality stuff, she rose to the top. So if I do a straw poll of the, although, yeah, we've got Jamie Fleming, it looks like he has three. Rebecca Patrick has three. Nathan two, Heather and Scott one each. So yeah, I guess I'm open to, as you said, Doug, do we want to do three again, or do we
I mean, it looks like we have a clear
kind of got the
Or
top
two.
two anyway?
top two. I think we have a clear top two, Rebecca and Jamie.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
yeah,
And then-
just
and
go,
then
I would just
can
go
always-
through the process
Okay.
probably for this one.
Well, would anyone care to make a motion for, I guess we do these one at a time, maybe makes
Yeah.
sense. Jamie Fleming, we'll start
I'll
there.
make a motion to select Jamie Fleming as our recommended candidate for the vacancy ending December 31, 2026, and then Rebecca for the vacancy ending December 2027.
Can I,
Unless you want to.
I'll support that.
Support it for discussion? All right, go for it, Allison. Do you want to reverse the dates?
I guess I would, yeah, because I'm going to want to vote for Jamie for that,
The 2-year.
for the 2-year one. And I don't know how that's all going to pan out with our votes, but
Well, and I guess I kind of like Jamie for the 2-year one as well. So would you care to do a friendly
Why don't you
amendment?
just amend that if you want to amend that and just
First the
flip
two.
that around, and then I'm sure we'll get a second on that.
Yeah.
We're not.
You good with that?
Sure.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. So that actually takes care of item 3 and 4. Is
Perfect.
that correct with you guys?
what did,
So we ended up with recommending Rebecca Patrick for the one that expires December 2026, and Jamie Fleming for the seat that expires.
okay, I didn't think that's what we were just voting on.
Oh, shoot.
That's what you wanted though, right?
Is that what you wanted?
Who you just said?
No, I just thought that we were going to each list our name, like we were going to actually say the name of who we wanted for that particular one.
Oh,
Okay. But we can do that. I think we can.
I would rather state the name of who.
okay. Do we need uh-oh. Oh, how do we undo?
That is a good question.
Well, there was a motion by Doug. I supported it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was an amendment to that motion.
Amendment.
To flip those two.
Oh, we just voted on the amendment, not on the full motion.
Yeah.
Oh, good. We're all right. All right.
That's what I,
We haven't voted to move the two through yet. We just voted on the amendment.
Right.
All right. So now I suppose we could vote this down
Yeah.
and then do it one at a time as Allison is suggesting.
yeah, I would just like it to go back to how it's actually listed on here.
Okay.
Okay.
And then
So,
we actually state the person's name when we vote.
got it. So procedurally speaking, we're about to do a vote to appoint, so that we can shoot this down if I'm understanding.
Well, let's just vote it and we'll vote it down, start over.
Yeah, there you
with
go.
the new
Yep.
motion.
All right.
All
So the motion on the table, if I can restate it, is to appoint Becky Patrick to the seat ending December 31, 2026, and Jamie Fleming to the seat ending December 31, 2027. Those in favor, say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Aye.
Oh,
Okay, motion fails. All right, now, would anyone else care to make a,
So
Allison?
I will just go back to the suggested motion that's listed to place into nomination and forward to the Board of Commissioners the names that are listed and to select one to fill one general public vacancy beginning immediately and ending December 31, 2026.
I'll second that.
Now you want a roll call?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Were we identifying one person as
Yep.
the,
Yes.
You're voting for one.
you
Yep.
identified Rebecca Patrick as the one?
Or
Well,
whoever
we're
you
going to
want.
list who we
Whoever
want.
you.
Oh, we're gonna list, oh, I got you.
Yes.
All right,
What's
thank
that?
you. Sorry, I wasn't following.
Mr. Kyers,
Rebecca Patrick.
Mr. Zylstra,
Rebecca Patrick.
Ms. Medema,
Scott Mueller-Lyle.
and Mr. Bruger.
Rebecca Patrick.
Rebecca Patrick has it.
All right. I get it. Thanks for that. That's much cleaner. I do like that. Way to go, guys. Thanks, Allison.
You're welcome.
And Doug and everybody else for being willing to do it.
Yes.
All right, so I guess we'll do the second seat. So is there a motion on the second seat, item 4?
Make a motion to select one candidate for the general public vacancy beginning immediately and ending December 31, 2027.
I support that.
All right.
Just ask for a roll
And
call.
would you
vote.
care to call roll?
Mr. Kyers,
Jamie Flanging.
Mr. Zylstra,
Jamie Fleming.
Ms. Medema,
Jamie Fleming.
and Mr. Bruger.
Jamie Fleming.
Jamie has it.
All right, motion carries. Thank you very much. That was great. Item number 5, Materials Management Planning Committee. Suggested motion to approve and forward to the Board of Commissioners the recommendation that the Chair of the Ottawa County Board of Commissioners assign an elected official to the elected official seat on the Materials Management Planning Committee in accordance with Rule 2.3 of the Rules of Ottawa County Board of Commissioners. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
There we go. Motion, support, and discussion. So I know this was a,
I just had a quick question.
go
Did
for it.
you, I'm guessing you didn't have any other applicants, right? Okay.
No.
That's all I wanted to know.
all right. Any other questions? Discussion? Okay, let's do a call.
Was Ron going to talk to this? So we got the exact job description here, so we're sure?
Oh, yeah,
Or
right.
not.
If you,
Well, I'm not sure what issue you're on right now, but you asked me to take a look at one aspect of this, and I do have a little written opinion.
oh, yeah,
That's awesome.
Is it, that's about material management?
materials management one?
Are you
Number
on,
5?
are you on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let's do it. Sounds good.
Oh.
Don't confuse me.
Okay.
This is the fun committee.
Yeah, I mean, the 2 paragraphs are pretty self-explanatory. Jack Jordan has taken a look at the question of whether or not the phrase elected official of the county requires that it be a commissioner seat. The answer is no. I think he's correct on that. The other issue is whether the appointment is by the chairperson only or is one that has to be ratified by the board. The board rules, specifically 2.3, indicate a 2-step process, and so that would require a nomination by the chairperson and then ratification by the whole board. So it's,
So we'd meet the process then.
right.
Would you recommend that the language is changed in action item 5 then to reflect that?
Action item.
I think
It is a motion.
it is. How is it different, Allison? I thought
Well,
it.
the in accordance with Rule 2.3 covers it.
Okay, great.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You wanted to make sure that, yeah, in the
And
language
I
of
didn't have
2.3,
it
it is. Yeah,
time, so
yep.
just make sure.
So help me out. Did we not put Commissioner Moss in that place pending this? Maybe I had that wrong.
We were waiting to find out. I think we left the seat open for 1 week to see if anybody else wanted to apply.
Yeah.
And you just stated that nobody else did apply. And then you brought it back for this committee.
Yep.
And so I'm guessing that next week at the Board of Commissioner meeting,
We would
it'll get
appoint.
added to the agenda.
Okay.
Sounds about
I'm
right.
just remembering the chart, the
Yep.
graphic, and
You're going back to the
Commissioner
January
Moss'
7
name was
meeting.
there with the, to be determined
Yep.
based on this investigation, if this investigation.
Yeah, and I think what.
We
what-
already approved that when we approved the commissioner assignments. I mean, it doesn't matter. We can add that action item just to be double sure.
Yeah, I think we'll have to check the minutes or the video of the meeting to see if we appointed him pending this. or-
That's my
That's what your
recollection, but I
recollection is,
mean,
yeah.
obviously doing it twice is not going to hurt
Yeah.
anybody, so.
Well, before we put the agenda together, we'll just double check that to make sure it's not already by default, he's in there. And if he's not, then we'll make that motion at the next meeting. Is that about
Sounds
right?
good.
Yeah, okay. Any further discussion? Or should we take a vote on item 5? Hey, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, discussion items.
Do you need, who made that motion? Who supported it, or did we have that?
I have that.
Okay.
She's on the ball.
I didn't know if we did that. I wasn't sure. I wanted to double check.
Good man, good man. Discussion item. Item 1, Parks and Recreation Commission update from staff on alignment issues. And Ron, I do believe this is you.
Yes, I have another,
Handout.
Oh, there we go.
Is that the same that was included in the packet, Ron?
it is,
Okay, thanks.
another copy.
So for anybody listening in who's something better to do this morning, one part of the alignment committee is just to make sure that our bylaws, our practices are in alignment with our bylaws, which are in alignment with our state statute that oversees each of our committees. And so the first trial run practice one that we're taking a look at is Parks and Rec.
Well, this is really
So
an
there you go.
interesting issue, yes. The bylaws do not perfectly align with the statute, and in fact, they contain a step that is a bit unusual. Essentially, the way it would work is if you have two commissioners who have been appointed and are members of the Park and Rec Commission, when they're up for reappointment, the commission has to first approve their reappointment before it goes to the full Board of Commissioners. When I say commission, I'm talking about the Parks Commission has to reapprove before it comes back to this commission. I spoke to the superintendent of parks about this, and I think he seemed a bit surprised that that conflict exists.
Yeah, and
They
Jason's
want
here.
to address it.
Jason's here. Come on up, Jason.
Yeah. I
It's
don't
like,
know if
share
you
your
might be able to help us
surprise.
with the history on it, but
Mhm.
Thank you, Ron.
you bet.
Good morning. So the Parks Commission, we hadn't reviewed our bylaws. When I got here, they were fairly outdated, significantly outdated. So they've been on my to-do list after I got here in 2019, and we finally tackled them and started working on them early in 22. And we worked with Corporation Council and the Parks Commission at the time, and then reviewed them with the county administrator and then the board, and subsequently they were all approved. So one of the standing long-term requests that the Parks Commission always had was if there was an existing incumbent Parks Commissioner who was in good standing, had participated, and how do they support or endorse when it comes time for reappointment or that appointment process. So that was really in the intent and how we have implemented it. We actually do a resolution or a motion to endorse, and then that gets shared on. So, yeah.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is that the bylaws use the word approval.
Yep. And we have had an internal working committee. Our finance and policy committee has been reviewing these. So we'll continue to work on those. Those were some of the things we were working through. I'll invite Ron to attend that meeting and provide some advice. That's always very helpful. Phil's on our Parks Commission as well. So, yep.
So if I'm hearing the process that we're proposing is basically to have Parks and Rec take a look at their bylaws along with Ron
Yep.
and then come up with some proposed amendments.
Yep.
That would bring us in alignment or better alignment if we're.
And there were some other things that are, that was just one. There were some other things that we think need to be updated and tweaked that really aren't necessarily how we've implemented it.
Okay.
So,
Take the opportunity to address a few other changes. Allison, what you got?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ron, thanks for taking a look at this, and Jason, thanks for being here as well. Jason's aware that this is an item that has come up that I would bring up for discussion at our parks meetings, the endorsement process. And to me, there's not another committee that I'm aware of that handles it in the same manner. This committee is the alignment an appointment committee. I believe we are the ones that are given the authority to bring people forward to vote to put into different positions throughout the entire county. And while it's great to have feedback from different departments, I think that's something that happens organically when you're working as chair, Josh, or whether other people are serving on the board and want to get different perspectives from directors or those currently serving. I think there's better ways to have that versus creating potentially a conflict of who's really the person in charge of making those recommendations.
Sure. And with the word recommend in the bylaws, it clearly creates a conflict.
Mhm.
And so the more nuanced words of, what is it? What's the proposed
Well, the
word?
word approval is the one that.
Approval, sorry,
is
recommend would be.
Problematic, yeah.
Okay. And Allison, are you saying that recommend might even be a little bit problematic or?
I think this is just my
Just for
perspective. I would love
your
to
guys'
hear what you guys have to say too, but from my perspective, that is what this committee is for. I think there's better ways to go about getting other perspectives than having it written and it coming forth to you in a formal recommendation from a board.
Got it. Got it. Doug or Phil? Yeah.
I think that's why you have people like commissioners sit on the Parks Board, so they can relay that to the alignment committee. You know, you can tell them what's going on. That's why we always had commissioners on there to either bring it to planning and policy or this committee. I think that's why it works good. And it probably would be a good policy. I mean, not that would be set in stone, but to probably have a commissioner sit on this committee and Parks just to have that liaison going through there. Well, I guess you can't do it for every
No.
committee, but, I mean.
What
well,
are you signing us
I
up
mean,
for,
What you're
Phil?
saying.
well, you could in a sense to a lot of them. I mean, different ones, like, yeah.
It does
Well,
work out often and just even reaching out to different commissioners that do sit.
Right. Well, I mean, look at, you got somebody sitting on CMH, you got somebody sitting on groundwater, you got somebody sitting on parks. You do have a lot of commissioners spread over the whole aspect of who we appoint in every committee.
Yep.
So kind of your eyes and ears in my sense, so.
Doug, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, I guess I,
Jordan, we'll get back out to you too.
sorry, Jordan, you can go first.
Oh,
No, I would just echo what Phil said. I think that is kind of the role of the commissioners on a lot of these boards. Obviously, not every board has a commissioner that serves on the appointment and the alignment committee, but if we're doing our jobs correctly before we are looking at actually appointing someone, we should be having those conversations with the people who do serve on those boards. So yeah, I don't think it's necessary. It's not unheard of for boards to recommend their own members. I mean, at least in the private sector, corporate boards do that all the time. But I think for consistency's sake, it's probably the easiest to just have it be the same and have that kind of flow through the commissioners.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, Doug?
You're right. So I appreciate a lot of the discussion. I guess what are we asking Parks to just delete the language in the bylaws? Is that what we're asking?
Well, and I think that's what we'll work through that and, you know, try to address the conflict that is there. And then, you know, I'll take that feedback to them and,
I mean,
Yep.
in one sense, I mean, if these are your bylaws, I mean, state statute doesn't say how we get folks on the Parks Commission, right? We have our appointment policy, which says that the Board of Commissioners will review all applications. You know, so I guess my question again is, are we asking you to just lop off those last two sentences about, you know, having the commission's approval for incumbents and not submitting two names?
well, and I would say if there wanted to be an endorsement, that doesn't even necessarily need to be written in the bylaws, right? There could be you know, the Parks Commission could do a motion to support an incumbent candidate, right? I think that it really is just trying to, and I think it's important that there's consistency the way across boards and commissions do it. So, no, I think we're taking a deep dive into it. So I think that, the way the wording is now, it's contradictory.
It's
right?
contrary to our
So,
practice, for
yeah.
sure.
Right,
And so if we're asking you to, you know, look at, you know, lopping off those last two sentences,
right.
I mean, I assume at some point, somebody wrote these and said, you know, we in the Parks Commission want to have some sort of authority and some sort of power to, you know, put who's on our board, like Jordan says, right? And, you know, if they had an incumbent and they wanted to, you know, send that incumbent to us for an
Right.
up or down vote, that's basically what this line does, right?
Right. And that's what, when John Shea was here at the time, we talked through that, you know, it's always going to end up being the board's ultimate responsibility and right to appoint the commissioners. So we worked through then how we implemented it. So,
But in process-wise, at the end, you guys will do a revised draft, bring it to
Yep.
the full board eventually for approval.
Yep.
So if I'm taking a straw poll on the sentiment is, hey, if we could not have that line in there, we'd probably appreciate it because it cleans a lot of stuff up.
yep.
But at the same time, we recognize that, yes, each of our individual boards and their leadership team may have a few people that they like, and so we'll be, as commissioners, actively listening for that.
Don't miss the fact that Commissioner Zylstra has pointed out a second issue, which is with the non-commissioner seats, the bylaws require that the Parks Commission screen all applicants and submit two names for each position to the board, which is.
Right, which they haven't been doing, but it looks like
Right.
they have that right according to the bylaws. And, you know, obviously, we've been collecting them here, right? So there's two aspects there, like you say, and, you know, we can ask them to say, hey, look at that, and maybe, you know, just lop those two off. And because in practice,
Right.
you know, the board is taking on that role and not the.
It
Parks
seems to usurp your authority to me.
Right. So, I mean, it's not in state statute, but in practice, you know, we
Right.
have been doing that for all our boards and commissions. And the language here kind of gives parks a lot of leeway and, you know, we can ask them to say, hey, you know, can you kind of give that, you know, leeway back to us?
Bill, did you have a?
Well, I do like the part where we have different people on the parks, and I know it, we ran into that with corrections, so I don't want to use it too much, but I do like it in some sense where you get a naturalist on there, you get somebody with, you know, background in ecology and all that kind of stuff and science and all that. So it does help to have all them different people, you know, a realtor on the parks and, you know, agriculture, water on the parks. It does help to have all them different people on the park. 'Cause it
100%.
really makes a big difference. I can tell. when
And
they-
we were gonna, and we've been working on a draft of recommended skills and experiences, so qualifications
Yeah.
to be able to provide, you know, versus, you know, trying to build some of that into the bylaws, providing some overarching.
I guess the
and-
key word is recommended instead of bylaws, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Allison, what are we gonna?
Yeah,
say?
I would just agree that recommended, right? Because state statute leaves it pretty open. So I think it provides a really good, robust discussion for us as board members, but not to have that put into a,
Bylaw, no.
yeah,
no,
or a requirement.
Absolutely, yeah.
You got enough?
Yep, thank
All
you.
right, thank you very much. So we'll not do anything, a formal motion or anything like that, but we're going to anticipate probably a report back from you guys maybe in a month or so at our next meeting, giving us an update on progress.
Thank you.
All right, and then Ron, in your discovery, or excuse me, looking into Parks and Rec, you started to dive into Land Bank with Cheryl Clark, who is also here. And I don't know which one of you wants to take the lead on that, but just giving us an update on getting Land Bank in alignment is
I'm
great.
willing to do that. I do have
One more handout. All
a
right.
copy. I know you got the copy of my opinion, but you didn't have the attachment. I've got the attachments
Oh,
here as well.
all right. And can we throw the attachment up online, Regina, after? Just so that the public, if they wanted to get access to it,
To the
can get it,
packet?
yep, add it to the packet. For posterity's sake. Ron, go for it.
Yes, this is an interesting issue. Not that they all aren't interesting, but this one was particularly interesting and brought to the attention of us by County Treasurer Cheryl Clark, that the seats on the Land Bank Authority are supposed to be 6-year term seats. And over the years, we've gotten out of sync with some of those seats. And the way it's supposed to work, if I understand correctly, is if someone is given a 6-year term, but they resign or something after 3, the next person appointed to fill that seat serves 3 years to complete that 6-year term and then might be reappointed beyond that. And there also is a requirement, statutory and bylaws requirement, that the seats be staggered. So Cheryl admirably went through everything and came up with a plan to fix this. And her plan, essentially, if I understand it correctly, is to shorten the terms of a couple of people, to recreate the staggered terms, and also to correctly have the terms in question be 6-year terms. So she's accomplishing 2 things by doing that. So the question ultimately is, what do we do with that information? Do we recommend that the Land Bank Authority adopt Cheryl's fix, so to speak, and shorten those terms, and ask the Land Bank Authority as an organization to approve that? Or do we come up with another solution? And another possible solution, which I mentioned, is to allow these people to serve out their terms, then fix it with the next go-around. I had forgotten until Cheryl reminded me that I'm actually on the Land Bank Authority. We do have a meeting coming up that we're trying to schedule right now, I believe. My recommendation would be we take the issue to the authority and allow them to select the way to fix it.
I think that's a great, maybe a great idea and a great update for us. Any comments or thoughts from the board here?
I think that makes a lot of sense.
I do too.
It looks
Yeah.
like she's done her homework and
Oh, yeah,
we'll
she's
let
done a
Land-
nice job with
let
it.
Land Bank straighten it out for us and then come back with the final
Yeah.
decision.
My only
Allison?
question would be is, do you feel like it's going to create a lot of unnecessary conflict for you to deal with at the Land Bank Authority with the individuals, or do you feel like that will go pretty well and having a discussion and?
Yeah, I think it'll go well. I mean,
Okay.
there's just so there was one the term would have to be shortened and one we would have to post. So that's where I'm trying to come from is I need to get that one posted so we can get it filled
Mm.
soon.
And I know Lene had been working on this extensively with Cheryl and so I'm appreciative of the work because yes, there was a lot there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this one,
And-
in some ways falls into the CMH question as far as getting the
And
terms.
kind of along the same lines as the parks, we have this intergovernmental agreement with the state land bank authority that says that the positions had to be staggered, and that was not carried over into our bylaws. So as the land bank authority is also going through the bylaws and having those updated.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Well, yeah, I agree with the general consensus, which is to send it to the Land Bank Authority to come up with your solution. And I appreciate Allison's question too. We didn't want to create a headache for you with different people feeling strongly about it one way or another. I guess if you do run into that, you can always bring it back to us, but there could be an amicable solution.
I mean,
from
what
the
do you
committee.
think
That's great.
Jordan is on?
Oh,
Jordan's
yeah,
on the land
Jordan.
bank, so.
Yeah, Jordan,
Yeah.
you're on the Land Bank.
Yes, yeah, I've served on Land Bank for the last 2 years. It is a very, very amenable group of people. I don't expect any controversy whatsoever. I mean, I'm glad we have one coming up, but it typically meets, once every 6 months, unless there's something more pressing going. So I think, yeah, bringing it to the land bank, I think we'll find good consensus, and it sounds like Cheryl has a really good plan. So thank you, Cheryl, by the way.
Great.
Thank you.
So if I summarize, it sounds like you'll bring some solutions and then also some recommendations on bylaws amendments.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
That's good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
They're all that easy, right?
Yes.
Before we go to public comment, just a quick, Ron, so could we look at CCAB when we're looking at that legal opinion? We do have some discrepancy between state statute and bylaws on this one as well. That
Sorry,
hopefully,
Doug, which one?
community corrections.
Oh,
So for example, the bylaws for community corrections talk about a representative of general public. From what I can tell, state statute doesn't talk about a representative of general public, right? State statute talks about 1 to 3 service areas, and we have just one, right?
so you're
I'm
going back
fully-
to
I'm
item
fully-
number 1 on the agenda if
What's that?
I'm trying to catch up. So you're looking at Community Corrections Advisory Board, which was the
Yep.
first one. And because Ron is also reviewing that as far as the 2 people qualifying, you're saying, hey, while you're looking into that, can you look into this too?
Right, just,
Got it.
just make
Okay.
sure
Oh, yeah.
that most of them are lined up, but just those 2 points, in particular, and, the Workforce Investment Board is not on bylaws, but it's in state statute. General public, there's no,
You're right that they did amend the bylaws, and it is a bit inconsistent with the state statute.
so, I
that
mean,
the
I don't think it's
General
a
public
huge,
position is
huge issue,
been
but,
added, right?
I mean, if we're cleaning up, then it looks like we have somebody who represents general public who could go into a service area. So we wouldn't have to take anybody off, just designate them differently.
Doug, you bring up a good point, and I think that the natural progression of this committee is that we're going to, as we start making appointments, we're going to discover challenges with bylaws and things being out of alignment, and one will flow right into the next. So it does make sense that corrections would be on that list, and as long as you're looking at them, Ron.
Okay,
Yeah,
you bet.
Allison, did you have? All right, yeah. Cool. We do need to set our next meeting date. And I think for staff's sake and for my own sanity, planning ahead for agendas and so forth, it'd be nice if we started to pick the same date, same day of the month, whether that's the second Thursday or third Thursday or whatever it is. That would be dynamite. From a process standpoint, I think the latest in the month that we could have it would be this week at this time, because our motions are then going to go to the full board right away. I'd be fine with this.
Yeah, this week is kind of slow, so this does work good.
Gonna work for you?
What about staff? Does that work? Yeah?
Are you talking about
So what is this, the third Thursday? Is that what we're?
Yes, yeah,
Third Thursday?
third?
That'd be the 20th, right?
Yeah.
or 17th.
Well,
next month.
yeah, third Thursday of the
Third
month at
Thursday.
9 a.m. is kinda
17th,
what
sorry.
we're proposing.
The only other suggestion
you
would
got.
be, I'm not opposed to that one, but I didn't know if the other possibility, if we're already here for committees
Oh, is the second.
anyway, and we would just do it right after, but it could also make for a very long day. So I'd be
I-
okay with waiting.
Or we could do it, yeah, the Wednesday before Parks, because I'm going to be here anyway.
Well, I'm a little with Allison. I'd
I
rather.
can play that game,
Yeah,
Allison.
yeah, all right. I don't mind. I like the idea of the second Tuesday, but that does make for a long day.
Yeah, and then
We've
it's
had
probably
a
hard to
couple-
set it's probably hard to set your time for it.
Yeah,
too
it
then.
really is.
The second
I-
Tuesday, no, I have Parks the second Tuesday.
Oh, you
right-
do?
right
Okay, so
after
Phil, it's all
Friday.
about you. All right. So if.
No,
if-
I have Parks already. I'm
Teasing.
booked.
No, you're booked? Oh, that's good. I was.
The second Tuesday in April is the MAC conference anyway,
Yep,
so
So the 17th is what we're looking at?
All right.
17th
The
works for
third.
me. And then if we need to change that,
Got it. So
Third
let's-
Thursdays?
It might have to be a little later, but I can maybe change my doctor's appointment.
Okay, thanks. Let's.
So
I
I,
had it scheduled already.
For staff, and if I'm understanding this, the general consensus, sorry, Jordan, are you open to the third Thursday of
Yeah,
the
we
month at
should.
9 a.m.?
so I'm gonna be in Lansing on Thursdays typically.
So maybe that isn't a good time.
I mean, unless you don't want me to vote, I can always
No, we
join
see,
by
so
Zoom, but
we do have to have
How
him.
about on the are you Is everyone around on the Tuesday of that same week, like the 15th?
The third Tuesday of the month?
Third Tuesday?
So I'm in Lansing typically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, unless we have subcommittee meetings or a full board meeting. So if we tack it on to whenever we have planning and policy and finance, I'll always be able to make it.
About-
But
About that Monday? The third
Monday
Monday?
and Fridays, I
If
can
you're gonna be
always
around
do
the
it.
10th, Jordan, we can just tack it on the 10th, because I don't think we're gonna have a long agenda the next meeting, right? It's just seeing what Parks comes back with and.
Yep, you might.
seeing
Yeah,
what
the
committee
10th,
corrections-
That's fine.
the 10th would work.
I
10th
got
would
it
work
early.
great. Yeah, we could do 8 a.m. on the 10th would work great for me. I'm just saying going forward, if Thursdays are the only days that work, we'll most likely just have to join by Zoom. So,
Well,
There's a good chance we won't have, nobody, well, we will have some appointment for corrections, won't we?
so we're looking at, if I'm
Hopefully.
following, the next meeting being Thursday, the 10th, after the planning and policy meeting, after the finance committee meeting.
Okay.
otherwise
And
we
I'm
could do
fine with that.
we-
Could make for a
we could
long
do it
day,
at
but let's
8
try it
a.m.
out. Sorry?
We could do it at 8 a.m. before planning and policy because,
She can't make that.
I don't
Oh,
think it's gonna be a
okay.
long agenda,
No, I think we're okay
just
too.
cleaning up a few things and making one appointment.
Yep. I think we'll be short. I don't know what the rest of them will be, but yeah. So let's do that. And then at that meeting, because we'll all five be there, we'll take a look at our calendars about scheduling a regular meeting.
So maybe put that at 12, just to be sure,
Yep.
or?
I think noon
Yeah,
is a
if
good
we're still
time.
meeting
Yeah.
with The other ones, it's just immediately following.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so officially, we're going to set the next Appointment and Alignment Committee meeting for Thursday, April 10 at noon, or as soon as the Finance Committee meeting ends.
All right, so we'll all be here and we'll get up here. All right, sounds good.
All right, sounds good. Regina, you got that? Okay, public comment? Public comment. Would anyone from the audience care to comment? No? All right, seeing none, we are adjourned at 10:03. Way to go, everybody. About one.